A very good evening, and once again, welcome to another episode of The Different News. We are almost at the end of this year, and all things are very happy and positive around us. I want to bring a note today on a very pertinent issue or things that sometimes, I guess, we forget in the mesmerizing, perplexing glitters of life. We talk seldom and often about violence with women or justice, non justice to women. One question that I want to put in your mind today, and it is a very important question: are our men equally safe? At least I'm talking in perspective of India. In terms of if they're victimized in any form, are they getting the equal opportunities to take help from the legal system? I know on my podcast, this would be kind of a different topic that I'm talking about, and there is a reason for it. Today, I'm not trying to propagate any negativity through this episode, but I want to bring up a real story, a person who has been going through this for a very long time in his life. And I have been lucky to be mentored by him on laser dentistry. So it's like using lasers for dental treatment. He is a known person, and I'm sure if you are from the dental fraternity watching this podcast, you know him very well. Having said that, today I want all of you to think a bit, to think a little bit, because I think this is very important when we talk about equality as well in terms of men and women. So let's hear the story, let's understand the perspectives and the entire intention. I want to give a disclaimer. Here we are together today with my guest only with one intention, is for a plea for justice. So I hope you will enjoy this podcast as well as a message to the end of the year. You will take away a lot of things home, thoughts that I want to put forward through this episode to you. I welcome my mentor and my guest for today, Dr. Kripa Johar. Welcome, sir, and thank you once again for being on my podcast. And it's a pleasure and honor to host you today and talk about the journey, a different perspective of yours, of your life.
Thank you, Dr. Gargi. First of all, thank you for having me over and on a topic which is not very much spoken about, and and through your audience passing on the message of a plea for justice. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you once again.
It's my pleasure. And just to let my audience know that Dr. Kripa Johar is one of the pioneers in India to bring the concept or the thought process of using lasers, treating dental disorders and problems. And also he's very actively into innovations in terms of laser therapy devices, which helps in pain management and other kind of holistic approach. So Dr. Kripa Johar has been a practitioner from a very long time, based out of Bangalore. So as I started this episode today with a different perspective, it's important that we talk about these things, sir. Your personal story, I know closely. I know you closely. I know your personal story, and I know that it highlights the complexities of legal system. If you don't mind, can you share more about your experience and how they have shaped your perspective on men's rights, at least in India?
Yes, very important question, Dr. Gargi. And at the very outset, I would like to clarify that laws protecting women address the historical injustice and discrimination that women have faced over the years. At no point am I saying that this was not needed, and this is a concern all by itself. But having said that, a legal system can also be subject to misuse. The same laws that were made to help women in difficult situations are being used as propaganda tool by few women, and unfortunately those who are genuinely needing this kind of help are, are also getting categorized in this. But there are people doing this for money, for personal vendetta, for getting back, and the very tool which was meant for their protection has become a tool for misuse, and that's really unfortunate. So I think we need to look at this as not a male female thing, but just as equality. If someone has done wrong, he should be punished, whether it's a male or a female. If a law is being abused, even then the person should be punished, should pay a price for it. You cannot destroy somebody's life just because you can and get away with it. And that, unfortunately, is a truth in some situations today.
Would you like to share a bit about your story if you are comfortable? So then I
Sure.
think we have the context and I can actually take the discussion forward, if that is okay with you, sir.
Yeah, sure. Uh, I think it's important that people understand my context, and for that, though I've always been a somebody who's you know lived in a bubble and just stuck to my work, it's important not in terms of my story, but it's important this comes out because in terms of the many thousands of men who are facing similar situations. As you know, very recently there was an unfortunate death in Bengaluru of a IT person due to the same issues. And he's not the first one. There have been many, many such unfortunate deaths of youngsters, of young men giving up hope and losing lives just out of pure helplessness. So I got married in 2010 and I had two children. In 2000, two boys who are now 13 and 10. My wife left me in 2015. My elder son was born with a hole in his heart, and he needed immediate open heart surgery, which was painful enough for any father or mother to go through. Over and above that, when she left, his surgery was still pending, and he was underweight, so he was highly underweight. So his surgery had to be postponed till he could be of some minimum weight to undergo the process. So that is why it got delayed by a year. But and out of pure concern as a father for my son, for my child, and because I had no access to him because she had taken him and gone off to Pune without telling me, saying she's going to her brother's house. And then when I realized I have no access, the only way I can reach out is by going to court. So I just asked for an interim custody where she can also come down and we can just do the surgery and save our child's life, and this can continue, but priority should be given to his well-being. But the minute I filed that case, I was which was only for the surgery including her presence, I was uh, thrown with cases. My Not only me, my parents who are no more, my sisters, my uncle, my aunt, allegations of false allegations of domestic violence, of dowry, and instead of trying to concentrate on how to help our child, I was drowned in this whole thing of how to prove my innocence. And it had such a large mental toll on my aged parents. It had a toll on my sisters, on me, where everyone is in different cities. My sisters are not even living in Bangalore, but they have to get different lawyers in different cities. I have to get a lawyer. My uncles have to get a lawyer, and there are just cases everywhere. And then it's filed in the magistrate court because it's a domestic violence case, but there is absolutely no evidence of any violence. So laws which are misused create a lot of sadness, breaks a family financially, emotionally. The separation with the children by itself is sorrow enough. Over that, you're dragged into this. And unfortunately, in India, it is the man is guilty unless he proves his innocence. It's presumed that he's guilty because of gender bias, which is very deep rooted. I once again I'm saying I'm not saying the other way does not exist, but it's important to take each case for the case that it is, to for the legal system to understand that there can be men who can trouble, who can be abusers. Similarly, there can be women also who can be abusers, and that distinguishing factor has to be made in each case, and that is just completely missing.
I really second what you said that when it comes to this kind of situations, there shouldn't be any bias whether it is men or women. So if somebody is at fault, the system should be so and such that it looks upon with equality and hears out the problem. Because I
Yes.
remember when you shared some parts unfortunate incidents with me personally, that people don't even listen when you are going and approaching them for some help, or the local legal authorities. So they don't even consider your statement or your proposition as like to be taken by on your side. I think that creates a kind of alert or alarm in the mind.
Yes, that's very true.
uh, with your experiences, which are not very good at your personal life, how do you think that we can work to create a more inclusive and equitable social justice movement that at least addresses the needs and concerns of all individuals regardless of gender? What would you like to add in this perspective?
See, that's a very valid question because there's so much bias, societal bias. Like I'm saying, if a woman is genuinely troubled, uh, please go ahead and give the justice she deserves. But if I, as a male in India today, am suffering abuse in my marriage, and if I go to a police station and tell that, listen, I can't take this anymore and I'm being abused, no one's there to listen to me. In fact, they might just start laughing at me, to be very honest, because they just think that this cannot happen. I mean, we're talking about half the population of this country, right? We are half man, half woman, the majority, keeping uh, the other genders aside. If you look at the broader perspective, we are talking about half the population, and to perceive that we are that one half are the abusers and one half is the abused would be a very broad generalization of the issue. So I if I am facing an abuse in my marriage from the last 10 years, I cannot go to the police station and file a case because there is nothing there that I can file. If I want to file a case against my wife, there is no law for men to file a case. Even if I want a divorce because I'm facing abuse and I want to save myself from this further because I just can't take it and save my own life, or save my own mental health, or save my family from more torture. There is no law. There is no provision in the law in which a man can get a divorce in India. If it is a mutual divorce where the man and woman together agree to get a divorce, you can get a divorce. If a woman wants a divorce, she can file all these cases and create a case. But if a man wants to get a divorce, he has to prove cruelty. And how is he going to prove it? Now, if there is cruelty, can be physical, cruelty can be psychological, it can be emotional. How do you go and prove cruelty in an Indian court where no one is even listening to you? And the minute the man files one case, even if he does file, not that it will withstand, he's going to be thrown with so many more cases that he will, somebody who's already suffering, will all the more withdraw, get into isolation, get into depression, get into alcohol, or just give up his life because there's no way out. It's like entering a sinking sand. You're just going to get deeper and deeper in this. What I expect from society is times have changed. I do understand the historical background, and even today in rural areas, even in urban areas, I'm sure a lot of women are going through abuse. I am not saying anything about that. Those who are doing that should be punished. But what about the women who are committing the same crimes? So there has to be some kind of gender sensitization amongst the legal system where a man can go without being afraid of being judged, because we also have stereotypes of masculinity and femininity. And in our head, we can't think that if he's a man, he can be abused by a woman. Abuse doesn't have to be always physical. It's in so many forms. It can even be physical. There are many men who are physically assaulted, but there is emotional abuse, there is psychological abuse, there is harassment, there is so much which goes on between closed doors. Right? Now coming to courts. My child, after his heart surgery, my elder son, when he was around 7, 8 years, had a condition called as selective mutism, in which a child loses his own voice and becomes dumb. And at that point, we were not sure whether he's permanently dumb or something he will grow out of. He was talking a little bit inside the house, but the minute you take him in public, in school, he's completely numb and not speaking a word. So it took time to understand this condition called as selective mutism. Selective mutism, you can check it out on Google. It happens due to psychological and emotional abuse. The child is having something which he's internalizing and not coming out with because he's a 7-year-old child. If his primary caretakers are not seeing to his emotional and psychological needs, where is the child going to go? Right? So he's internalized this thing. Can he walk down and meet a counselor, or can he get help, or is he even understanding why he's going through what he's going through? So if this child is having this issue, that means what is causing it has to be addressed. So without much hope, because I know how the system works, I once again went to the court, in family court in Bangalore, and I said, see, my child is not talking, he's lost his voice. And this happens because of emotional abuse. But or some psychological issue that the child is suffering from, which we need to understand. So it's unfortunate that the judge there tells me that if there's a problem, the mother will take care. What's your problem? You just give money. And I heard the same thing even for his heart surgery. You just give money. So our fathers just ATM machines. If my son is going through a problem and I'm concerned, is my role just money in this? And even if, supposing, let's try to even understand this problem. If I give money, is that going to solve this child's emotional issue? Because there is something causing it. And we need to understand what is causing it. And it's the child's family who has to solve the problem. Unfortunately, there are a lot of problems which money doesn't solve. But to say that this is not the father's problem, the father just needs to provide money and he can get lost after that, is is sad. That a father's role is just reduced to providing money, and there is nobody even questioning why the child has reached here. I'm not blaming any particular person for what has happened to the child, but I'm saying we as his family have to understand, have to be with the child, give the child the emotional support that is needed so that our child can come out of this problem and lead a healthy life. But it's not being even taken seriously that I can have a genuine concern for my child, which is again where society comes into play. The lower, especially the lower judiciary, uh, needs to be more gender sensitized and not just on generalize that, oh, this is a marriage dispute, the husband has caused the problem, the woman is suffering and the child is with him. So education, sensitization, workshops, working with men and women, getting laws which make people accountable for what they filed are all important steps in solving this issue, in my opinion.
I think you told a very pertinent, probable solution, or at least putting forward this idea. In what ways can we encourage more open and honest discussions? Because when we talk about awareness for anything, sir, the thing is that it's important that we talk about it and not just be inside the shell, and uh, at least we openly discuss about things, like
Yes.
as you, because with this aspects of the things that you are talking about, the kind of mental trauma you have gone through, and I know very well how it affects you as a person. And I mean, I know you from many years now. So all men, or no, it's not about men again, all human beings are not extrovert, or they are not so vocal, they cannot be vocal about everything they are feeling. So
Yes.
I think in those cases, people who are so sensitive like you are, people who are not extrovert in that sense, how can we encourage more discussions about these things, honest discussions? So do you think that would really help? How, I mean, because you are going through this painful journey, and I'm sure it has affected your professional life, your practice, a lot of things. To maybe your ideas, since you are going through this journey, still you are inside it, you haven't overcome it. Can you give your perspectives that is inside your mind, which might help some other people who are facing similar problems, that how we can encourage more discussions, more awareness? How can this be done in a good way, in a very positive way?
The fundamental, most important issue is we as a society have to come to terms that either gender can be abused. Till that, and we have to go beyond the stereotypical gender roles and say that okay, he's a man, nothing can happen, mard ko dard nahi hota, because these are problems which are there in the male mindset. They are scared to come out. They are scared to come out and tell their stories. They, even for me to come on a public platform, I made the video uh, a week back. It would just, and like me, somebody who's an introvert like me, to come out and share my own journey of injustice would just show how fed up I must be. But somewhere everyone has some hope, things might change, the system might understand. But after a certain point, you just understand there's no use. It's no use. So it's very important men come out and tell their stories, because only then will people understand this is a very rampant problem in our society. come out and tell their stories without fear of being judged, without fear of being less manly, without fear of of being victimized by the opposite party, that they will be uh, you know traumatized with false cases, without fear of losing their livelihood, without fear of abuse, intimidation. Like sometimes you get calls, do what we are saying, otherwise we will file these cases on you. We There's so many men who actually get calls like this. Give in to our demand, or we will file these cases. You have two choices. So they need to stand up and say, no, I will fight. I might even die in the process, but I'm going to fight, because I'm fighting for justice and I'm fighting for truth, and truth will win. It might take time, but it will win. A lot of men break down financially, break down emotionally, break down due to separation of their children. In a marriage where a man and woman are not getting along, why should a child be even separated from the father? I mean, you can just be two individuals who don't get along, and still if the father and the mother are willing to take responsibility, if that is the case, I'm not saying either way. Sometimes a parent doesn't want to take in charge. That's besides. But if both the mother and father want to take charge and look and give the best to their child, why is it that a man is being denied his child? So if so, men need to come out and tell their stories. Today we have social media, we have we have people who are fighting for these equality in just judicial systems. So please come out and talk. Don't you know that I know it's easy to say don't give up your life for this. Was There's so many men who have lost their life in this. Atul Subhash's case is not the first one, but however grim it might look, hold that grit, hold that determination, have faith in this, in justice from God, from the universe, whatever you want to call it, and stay strong. Things will change. So my thing would be to come out, share your stories, and if you've done nothing wrong, stand by your truth, stand by what you believe in, and things will change. Try getting a life beyond this, uh, because this can really drown you in sorrow, in misery, in financial distress. So don't get into that, and try being mentally strong, that you can come out of this without being lost. Yes. That's my advice.
Thank you so much, sir, for all the things that you have shared. And I really, what to say, it increases my awe for you, that it takes an extremely bold heart to come out and speak on a public platform, not about good things, or like as I started this podcast, like it's not about what you have achieved as a practitioner, or what is your, what, or any awards that you have got, but telling your story of your life, which is dark, sharing that, it itself, takes a lot of mental strength. I will add some points which you said, like it's important to tell your story about. And with masculinity, with males, we have certain factors that are engraved in your belief system, right from how we are bringing the
Yes.
child up. Because
Yes.
when we are girls, we are told, I mean, it's okay to cry, but when a boy cries, we just say, you are a boy, you just can't cry. So I think fundamental goes down there. Why not?
Yes.
We are all human beings. Why
Yeah.
can't a boy cry? And like
Yes.
as you say, that is the male only for providing, he should be only taken considered as, like, as in a mature state, as a provider. No, there is a lot of things. I mean, where is that part where a man can go and cry, or a man can go and tell his story out? Because as an individual, as a human being, we all go through different phases of life, and depression or any other mental health issues we all have experienced. So
Yes.
I very strongly feel from inside that the best part of a man is his feminism. Secondly, when we talk about equality, so equality should be everywhere, not just one sided. I mean, I feel it's a very painful experience, because when I see a person like you, truly, honestly, if you haven't spoken about your life story to anybody, or even have shared earlier with me, it was unimaginable to just match your personality, your professional work with what you are going through. Nobody, I think, can imagine just by looking at you, and all the time you give this smiling face, all the time you speak so softly. I mean, it is
Yeah.
impossible to understand what you are going through.
Yeah.
It's time that we change our perspectives of how we bring our boys up, and things that, well, again, we need to tell our girls as well, that we say that we need to teach our boys that you should respect women. It's also a vice versa thing. I
Yeah.
feel so.
Yeah.
So I think, sir, it's just that, as you said, we can hope for the best, and I'm sure justice will be with you. It's just maybe the matter of time. And yes, like you said, the truth takes time, to little bit more time, but I think it always comes out. So
Yes. That's the hope which keeps me alive too, and
right.
keeps me motivated to go and work daily. And because, as you know, my work is something which keeps. I do it with a lot of passion, and whether it's my teaching or my medical dental practice, because it's easy to break down. Also, I would say that men who are going through this need some coping mechanisms, which I see many men not having. And I would like to share that if it's okay. I'll just like to tell you what has helped me.
Hmm.
Uh, I would say what has helped me is meditation. I do Sadhguru's inner engineering, and his 20-minute meditation has given me a lot of calm and peace, and has helped me navigate through these situations. It's not that the external changes, of course, we have no control over the external or external people, but it helps me react lesser to these situations. Then having a support group, whether it's your having close friends, having family, whoever you trust, whether it's a counselor, having all, maybe also having a support system where you can talk without fear of being judged, without uh, being scared of sharing your vulnerability, is very, very important. I would say these two things, and of course, engaging in physical activities, sports, keeping your mind calm, being happy, finding happiness within yourself, and uh, uh, not putting your happiness onto another person, which is not even right in many ways, and finding your source of happiness within you. Maybe just praying for the best for your children. These are some coping mechanisms which have immensely helped me over the years, and have to a large extent helped me. You know, it's just an sad story in my life now.
I mean, you have immense mental strength, and we are all seeing on screen on a public platform today, because I think
Yeah.
the things that you shared right now, it is going to help many people who are probably just right now, they are just silent. They haven't
Yeah.
got that courage to
Yes.
come out and speak about what they are going through. Particularly, I'm talking
Yes.
about men here. I think this is fantastic, and the way you are still in your positive mindset. Hats off, hats off to
thank,
you.
thank.
So I think I'll just make one small request to whoever is listening to this podcast. If you think that this is a question to be asked about men's equal legal rights, if you think that it is a question, or it is a topic that we should know more, we should become aware of, because until and unless it happens with us, we are are we really thinking of others? I guess no. So since I know Dr. Kripa Johar, I have been connected with him professionally, personally. So probably today I got this opportunity at least to do my bit to bring this story up here. So it would be very nice if you can share this video as much as you can, so that we are just so that our intention is just to get a plea for justice for Dr. Kripa Johar. And thank you, sir, for being
Thank you.
so bold to come up and tell your stories. And not only that, you are now an embodiment of what we really talk about, being positive. So
Yes.
I don't think a normal human being, in the daily course of life, we have so much of demands, and we very quickly say that we are anxious, we are depressed. But I think hearing your story, I think we should stop saying all these things for
Yes.
small things. Really,
I
it,
I
yeah.
would like to thank you, Dr. Gargi, once again for giving me this opportunity to reach out to men who are suffering. I hope people in authority, in power, also hear all the men suffering, bring out some changes in this country so that those who are doing wrong or misusing laws are punished and made accountable for their actions. And for me to remain strong, I have told you what I have done, what helps me. Also, like I didn't mention, but my parents who suffered a lot in their old age, and many parents who have sons are suffering even today in their last years, running to courts. I think I need to fight for their justice also, which they did not get in their lifetime. Still, I have life. I will advocate for that because they deserved a better old age after serving in the dental community for 40 years. He deserved some rest and peace, which he did not get. And my mother, who was quite shaken up by the whole experience. My sons, who are also struggling because of this entire mess. So I guess my strength is drawn from these four people. And also, I need to provide justice to them, to myself, and to many, many men who I hope see light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you so much, sir. And as I said, we all hope for the best, and I'm sure that uh, you will get your pie of justice. And I think that your attempt, being in spite of being victimized and going through such a painful personal journey, still you are so positive, and I'm so glad that you are. And we always want to see that smile on your face every time, as you have been.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you,
Thanks, dear.
everybody, for watching this episode. And we are very grateful that you have been sticking with us. And as I said, a small request, please share this video so that this story goes out, the strategies, the things that sir have shared, so that it helps many other men out there. Thank you. Everybody take care, and we both wish you all a happy new year.
Yeah. Season's greetings. Happy New Year to all. Yes.
Thank you. Bye bye.